Hi, I'm Danny and these are my Diecast Disasters. In this video I'm going to be restoring a car sent to me by one of my viewers, Devon, all the way from Spokane, Washington in the USA. And it is a pretty cool car. It is K.I.T.T from the 1980s TV series Knight Rider. So thanks heaps for sending that over, Devon, mate. Now, if there's any show that I probably watched as much as the Dukes of Hazzard, it would have been Knight Rider. I couldn't find too much information about this particular diecast model, but they were made around 1982 by Kenner for Universal Studios. Having a look at this example, it's in pretty good condition, I guess. The paint is a bit worn out there. See the spoilers broken on the back. It's probably going to be the trickiest thing to fix. The windscreen's not cracked or anything, that's good, and the base there is in good condition. K.I.T.T stood for Knight Industries 2000, and of course it was the talking car that David Hasselhoff used to drive around in Knight Rider as the character Michael Knight. I'll begin taking apart our little K.I.T.T car here by drilling out the 3 posts that are holding the base on. The Knight Rider TV series ran from 1982 until 1986. The car was a modified 1982 Pontiac Trans Am. So I'll just carefully prying the base off there, make sure I don't break it. Now I can take out the interior and the windscreen. There's a rivet holding the windscreen in, so I'll just very carefully drill that out without drilling through the roof of the car. See, they've just painted the fluoro red end on there for K.I.T.'s little red light. And now that's all taken apart, I can strip the paint off of the casting there with some paint stripper. Here it is after paint stripping. A little bit of oxidation and a few scraps of paint left on there, so I'll give it a clean up with the wire brush on my rotary tool. There we go, that's looking a lot cleaner and shinier. The surface is still a little bit rough, it's not the smoothest casting in the world, so I'll just give it a quick work over with some sandpaper. And then it was painted with a couple of nice coats of black paint. And I just detailed the indicators there, a couple of lights on the front, and I got a nice couple of coats of gloss clear. So moving on to the interior now, this broken spoiler here, this is going to be the trickiest bit to fix. Now there's this cool sticker here for the dash, I don't really want to lose that, so I'm going to take it off as carefully as I can, try to peel it off there. Unfortunately the back of it ripped off a little bit, but the front all came off fine. And once I had this off, I put it safely away for later. To fix the broken spoiler at the back there, I'll start with a little bit of black Star Bond super glue. Just apply a tiny amount with a stick there. And now I can glue the broken section back together. Now I have to recreate that curved end sticking out there. I'm going to use a thick piece of styrene for this. So I use a couple of little needle files there, my craft knife, to make a round curved end there. And then I've cut it off there and glued it onto the end of the spoiler. Now I'm going to use a little bit of fine sandpaper to tidy it up, smooth it out where it's a bit rough. So that's starting to get there. Now I'm going to hit it with some grey primer, and this will let me see better where I'm up to. Now I continue sanding it, and I applied primer and I repeated this about 2 more times until I was quite happy with it, and then I painted it black. So that's the broken spoiler fixed. Now I can move on and detail the interior. So I'll just start by masking off my nice black spoiler, and then I hit the interior with some white primer, then a tan brown there, and then finish the detailing with some black. I'll just take off the masking from the spoiler here. So now that's all painted, I just need to reapply my little sticker that I took off earlier, using a little bit of PVA glue to stick this on. And once that had dried, I finished it all with a nice satin varnish, and I hit the spoiler at the back there with a gloss varnish. Onto the chassis now. Not much wrong with this. I'll just start by popping out those old wheels, they're not very nice. And then I gave the whole thing a nice fresh coat of black paint. Now there's no actual detailing on the back there, but I want to put a couple of tail lights on. So I've painted a piece of clear decal paper here with chrome and then clear red. And I've cut out a couple of tail lights, and I'm going to apply them to the back of the car here. And I've also printed myself a little tiny K.I.T.T license plate here. It's only 2 by 4 millimeters. I just printed that on some standard A4 paper And I'm using a little bit of PVA glue to stick it on there. And of course this was all finished with a coat of clear. Moving on to the windscreen now. It's awesome, there's no cracks in it, but it's pretty scuffed. See where they've just painted the end red there. So I'm going to give it a work over with some fine sandpaper to get rid of the worst of those scuffs there. There we go. Now I'm going to give it a really good polishing. And finally a dip in the self-shining floor polish. And lastly, let's take a look at these old wheels here. Then they did have chrome around the outside of the rims. They probably would have looked alright, but I'm going to be replacing them with these Hot Wheels wheels. And I've just painted the centres of the rims black on them there. And here we are, all of the parts of K.I.T.T from Knight Rider, refurbished, repainted and ready to go back together. So while I'm reassembling it, let's just take a moment to look back and be reminded of what we started with. Our scruffy looking modified 1982 Trans Am. It's a very long car. Anyway, the paint job's pretty worn there. Scuffed old windscreen and some tired looking wheels. And of course the broken spoiler. Looks like K.I.T.'s been through a hell of a mission to get in this state. So let's see if we can tidy him up a bit. And here it is, K.I.T.T from Knight Rider, restored and customized. A nice new black paint job. It's been detailed inside and out. That scuffed old windscreen's been tidied up. A nice new set of wheels. And even that custom license plate there. I hope you think it looks a bit better. You can let me know what you think in the comments down below. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I watched this show heaps. I loved it back in the day. Admittedly, it hasn't aged as well as the Dukes of Hazzard. I can still sit through that show really happily, whereas I struggle to sit through an episode of Knight Rider now. But man, in the day, this was such a cool series, and that car was so cool. I remember seeing one when I was a kid at a car show, and you had to pay extra to get in to see it, and you got to sit in it. And I remember being so excited because I was going to get to talk to K.I.T.T. But at the end of the day, it was only a recorded message, and I remember that was quite disappointing. Anyway, a massive thanks to Devon for sending the car over all the way from America. Really hope you enjoyed the video and you like how it came out, mate. Big thanks to everybody else for the great comments and likes on my videos, and as always, extra special thanks to my awesome Patreon supporters who help to support the channel by giving a little bit every month through Patreon. If you'd like to help out as well and help me keep making videos like this for you to watch, you can check out my Patreon page. There's a link in the description down below, as well as a link where you can get 10% off Starbond superglues. Thanks heaps for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did and you'd like to see more, remember to subscribe and click the bell, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends.